Hey, how's it going, Forex traders? It's BFX, and I want to welcome you guys to my channel. Right now, today is Saturday, the 11th of November 2025, and I want to be giving you guys a quick breakdown, of the charts and possible trades, opportunities that you guys can actually take advantage of, um, for your own good. So, first things first, let's dive into the chart so that we can break it down. So, guys, I'm going to be breaking down gold, the BTC, breaking down for you guys so that you can take advantage of them and be able to make money in the coming week. Now, your weekend should be a time where you come back, refresh, rehearse, learn, unlearn, relearn, correct your mistakes, and all that. Now, the first things first, right? When you open your chart, the first thing you want to do is firstly go to the higher time frame. Now, and why is it so important that you should go to your higher time frame? Now let's start with BTC. Yep, let's go with BTC first. Sorry, let's go with gold first. Now, looking at this gold chart, right? Without any further ado, you will know that we have been technically bullish for a very long time, and looking at this, drop and this, pull back to this level, you will tend to find out that gold is looking like it wants to start, selling to the downside. But for one thing I know is before a market will give you a significant push, right? The weekly time frame has to give you these two patterns, or these two patterns. Either the double top or the double bottom, or the head and shoulder or inverse head and shoulder. Now these are the two most powerful pattern in the financial market. Right? Now, if we go back to the beginning of this whole push to the upside, right? Let's go back to the beginning of the push to the upside. Let's break down something and let's see um what happened or what transpired before we had that pump to the upside. Now, if you look closely at this, diagram right here or this pattern, you'll find out that this was an inverse head and shoulder. This was an inverse head and shoulder. And then we had a very, very crazy breakout, right? And then we had the massive pump all the way, to the upside. And after this inverse head and shoulder happened, look at where it happened. Where? On the weekly time frame. Now, this is why I always want to come to the weekly time frame and see, okay, are we forming a pattern? Are we trying to reverse or are we trying to continue the trend? Now, if you look here, when price came to somewhere around here, it gave something like I think this was a bullish pennant, something like a bullish pennant here, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So it gave a bullish pennant, it broke out and it kept pumping. Now, all these patterns is what you should use on your higher time frame so that you understand, okay, what is the probability of this market in the long run. Now, in the long run, this market has been so bullish, right? Now, understanding what um that this was the last level we had, a major push to the upside, you have to understand that before we have a major drop to the downside, market has to create either a double top formation to sell to the downside or a head and shoulder. Now, if you look um closely here, to be very honest, what I'm waiting for gold to do is to come at least to this level, fail to break, and then give us something like this. Now, once gold can be able to come all the way up here, fail to break, and started to sell with the body, I'm not talking weak, I mean market calm, maybe close to bullish candle around here, and then the next candle came out bearish and close. This is on the weekly, right? Now, if that should happen, I'll officially be switching my bias from being bullish on gold to being bearish. Now, this is how you know where the direction of the market is going for a long time and how you will be able to trade in line with the trend. This is just how it works. Now, next thing you want to do after breaking down the weekly time frame is scale down to your daily time frame. Now, on the daily time frame is where you want to look out for areas of decisions. Now, and also you want to look out for the trend. Now, looking at this daily time frame, you can see that we had a double bottom. We had this drop. We had a double top here first. We had this drop, and then we had a double bottom here. Then we had this pump. Now, after this double bottom, we had this pump. But like I said, looking at the fact that from the weekly time frame, we already, understood that okay, market has to come at least into this zone, which is here, which it has actually come, but it did not retest this zone, right? So it is still safe to say that the fact that this candle here did not retest this zone, there is still high probability that this W pattern and of course the retest of the W pattern could cause a potential buy back to this level, and we could have that retest. Now, see, this level for me is a strong decision area, right? If price should come into this level and fail to break, like I said, let's say next week we have buys, because to be very honest, I'm expecting next week to keep buying all the way to the upside, right? We should have some buys at least to this level before we should see a potential drop. Now, if this zone here, if this zone here fails to hold the market, if this zone here, fails to hold the market, then I see no reason why I should still be looking for buys on gold. Now, if this W pattern fails, then automatically what market is going to do is, just drop, retest this zone, and continue selling to the downside. And then if you go to the weekly time frame, this place is just going to be like a double. Now we have two type of double tops. That is why you have to understand your basics very, very well. We have two types of double top. We have the perfect one, which is like this, right? This is the perfect one. And then we have the one that is kind of imperfect, but it's still the double top, which may be one of the highs will be long and the other one will be small, and then you can have a drop. This is still a double top, and this is still a double top, and this is also a double top. Now, why would I say this is a double top? Let's go to the daily time. Let me prove to you guys that this is also a double top. If you go to the daily time frame here, before this very strong drop that happened on gold from 4,356, if you switch to line chart, you will see that this was the imperfect M pattern. You will see that this was longer than this, but it was still an M pattern. Now, if you pay close attention, you'll find out that this one I'm looking out for price to come and retest is the neckline of this daily M pattern here, right? Number one. And number two is a very strong weekly key level, which is this, right? Now, if let me just take out this drawing here, this brush, you see that price came so close to it, but it failed to to retest it, right? And then it dropped. Now, then that's a week before last, and then last week we had market struggling around the zone. If you look closely, you see that this is a morning star, but the morning star is kind of looking as though it has been engulfed. But next week is going to give us a very strong clue. Now, to be very honest, I'm expecting this market to pump at least back to the zone. Try this key area here, and then if it fails, we'll sell. But if it doesn't fail, we'll keep buying all the way to the upside. Now, our work is not to tell the market what to do. Our job as forex traders is to trade in line with the market, right? Now, what do you want to do as a smart trader? If you go to the daily time frame, right? Since the daily is telling us to buy and the weekly is telling us that there's a high probability of sales, what you want to wait for is for next week market to open, and then we should sustain above this key level, which is this. If we can sustain above this key level here, which is this, then pretty much we'll still pump all the way to the upside. Let me zoom back. Okay, if we can sustain above this key level here, if we have a break like this, let's say the market opens the next week and then we have a candle, we have a candle opening and then coming, something like this. We have a candle breaking like this. That's for the next week. Then this is perfect. Right, this is perfect. Then we can know that okay, there's a high probability that this weekly candle that is opening will most likely, push all the way to the upside, right? So that is that for gold. Now, this is why I'm still pretty much bullish on gold. I'm still bullish on gold because I'm expecting gold to still come all the way up here and retest this zone, because one thing you have to understand that this market does not just change trend. It has to, there have to be a fight. There have to be a fight between buyers and sellers at an all-time high, right? There have to be manipulation. There have to be a fight where, market will still come to that level, try to break the level, or probably break the level, but still come back and still sell. Now that is what I call liquidity, grab. I don't know, but that's what I call it. Because if market gets here, of course, a lot of people are going to feel like, oh, gold is still going up, gold is still going up, and they'll keep buying. And then all of a sudden, gold will start to drop, and then they'll be like, the market has, taken away my money. But it's because they do not understand the logic behind the market. So next week, what I want to be doing throughout next week is to pay close attention to the open of the next week candle. And what I want to see is, of course, market breaking above this zone that we had, marked out from the weekly time frame, which is somewhere around here. So if we have, that break like this, we have that break. Of course, they will be looking for buys above this zone, be looking for buys, and then below this zone here, we'll be looking for sales. Now, anything inside from here, from this level all the way here, we are in the zone, we are in a range. And if you pay close attention towards the price action that good has been on the lower time frame, you tend to find out that this is actually a hectic market movement, because this is not a trend. This is kind of like a range, right? Because we keep having, sideways movement, and market has just been moving sideways at this level, right? So anything below, we look for sales. Anything above this level, we look for buys to the upside, right? And to be very honest, I'm not seeing gold actually dropping all the way to this downside here. All I'm seeing is price could reject from this level and buy to the upside. But then that is not my work to do. All I'm here to do is to speculate and take trades in the direction of my speculation. So I've done justice to gold and I've break down gold to the BRS minimum. Now, if you want to enter, this is where you now scale down to your 15-minute time frame or 5-minute time frame, and then look for entries in line with this analysis that has just been done. And this is how to trade. Anytime you have done your weekly, and that is why weekend is very good, because weekend should be the time when the market is off, and this is when you should see the market more clear, because there is no movement, there is nothing. All you have is data and candlesticks where you can make your choices, right, using the previous week's data or candles, right? So that is that for gold. And then for Bitcoin, let's go to Bitcoin. Crazy, guys, but to be very honest, I called Bitcoin a sell from $120,000 per coin. In fact, around August, when Bitcoin was all the same way I had just analyzed gold for you guys, is the same way I was able to call out BTC drop from $120,000 per coin all to $65,000 per coin. Guys, this is very crazy. When I saw this crash, it was not a shock to me, because I was already anticipating and I was expecting, the crash to happen on Bitcoin, because the crash just has to happen, right? It just has to happen. It's a normal market phenomenon. It just has to happen. Now, the same thing was what I did when I called BTC short from all the way to this level. Now, let's go to weekly time frame. Now, pay close attention to what's happened on the weekly time frame. Now, if you look, like I said, the market will not just reverse; it has to put up a fight. Now, this was the last level, the peak where BTC was around 120k, right? This region. This was the last peak where BTC closed, and then we had this minor pullback. Now, when this minor pullback happened, a lot of traders saw this as an opportunity, to keep buying to the upside. And I said something. I said, if BTC, because BTC has bought for the very longest, and we just have to have at least a crash so that market can gather liquidity and keep pumping to the upside. Now, I said one thing. I said, if this market fails to break this level, right, just like what I said on gold, and we're able to sustain below this level, then I'll start looking for a very crazy crash, on BTC. Now, and here is why. Let's go to let me go to Bitcoin index. Now, this is where I'll explain to you guys explicitly why BTC has to crash, and I'll give you guys the reason behind this drop that's happening. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with anything. This is just a market cycle that has to happen, and I'll explain to people using past their market action. Now, let's go to BTC index. right? This is BTC index. Now, if you pay close attention, now this is, you can see this is my analysis. Crazy. You can see that this analysis was here. I did this analysis long ago. Like, guys, I didn't do this analysis before I did this video. I had this analysis draft out since, and just look at what happened when price came into 120k, created this double top. I said, you know what, if price comes and tries to break this double top here and fails, we will crash. I call this out. Is on my Twitter. You can go and check out on my Twitter page, Bami Matthew Jipal, on Twitter. You see my page where I dropped this. I called this sell. That time I said, be wise, take profit. Now this was when I saw markets came back to retest it and failed to break, and I said, be wise, take profit. BTC is about to drop to $65,000 per coin, and I'll explain to you guys why I choose $65,000 and why that is where I'm expecting BTC to hold. Now, a lot of people are saying, BTC is going to go to zero, but to be very honest, I don't think Bitcoin is going to go to zero, and here is why. Now, let's go to the inception of Bitcoin and how BTC had moved. Now, in the inception of Bitcoin, if you pay close attention, right? Now, when Bitcoin was launched around 2016, we had a major push all the way to the upside. Now, let me just zoom this kind of good. And this is why I came to the index, so that we'll have all the data of Bitcoin. Now, what happened? As market speculator, you have to use past history to be able to determine future occurrence or what is going to happen in the future. Now, if you pay close attention to what's happened on BTC, BTC pumped all the way to this level, right? Pumped all the way to this level, gave us an all-time high, and then we had a massive drop to the downside. Now, what happened when Bitcoin broke above this? This was the most recent key level it had. Normal basic market structure, we had a break. Now, this level acted as resistance for Bitcoin to buy. That was, now when this pump happened, everybody was like, whoa, buy BTC, BTC is on the moon, BTC is over the moon, you know, all the emotions and all. And anytime there's high emotions are high in the market and people are jumping in, that should be the time you should be scared to jump in, because the masses are always wrong. Do not follow the masses. Now, after this major pump to the upside, right, market created a double top here and then crashed. Everybody was like, whoa, Bitcoin was a scam, Bitcoin was this, Bitcoin was that, not knowing that it was just a normal market cycle that had to happen. When we create a higher high, we must create a higher low, right? Now, and that drop that happened from around $60,000 to around $20,000 was just a pullback to gather liquidity to push market to the upside. Now, and when market came, do you think that this is a coincidence that this market respected $20,000? No, this was the initial, resistance that turned support, and then this was what held markets, and the market pumped all the way from this level to $120,000. Now, do not forget what happened here had a higher chances of also happening here. Now, when I saw this rejection from this level, now this is supposed to happen here, but it failed, and here was why it failed. Because as at the time there was a lot of people coming into the BTC market, Donald Trump and all that. This level was supposed to be the level that was going to drop price back to 65k, but it failed to hold, and then price pumped all the way to 120k. Now, when I saw this M pattern formed here, right, I told myself one thing. I said, if this M pattern here still holds this market here, then this market is best believed going to drop to come and complete this same circle that has happened here. Look, we had this touch here, we had this touch here, and then we had this market struggling around this level and suddenly broke. So we just had to expect Bitcoin to come back, retest, and then pump all the way to the upside. Guys, see, this drop had to happen for the pump to happen. So this is not a bad, this is not bad for the Bitcoin market. This is also good for the Bitcoin market. Now, apart from this market structure, look at what is going on here. We had a trend line, right? And this trend line here, we had the first touch here, we had the second touch, and I'm expecting market to come and give us a third touch of this trend line, probably around this zone here, around the 65k or to 55 to 65k should be what we'll be looking out for. 55 to 65k, right? Now, this is the zone we should be expecting market to come and give us a touch of this trend line, also aligning with a very strong demand zone here. Now, if Bitcoin comes here and reject this level, best believe we'll be expecting, Bitcoin to pump back all the way to $150,000 per coin, right? You heard it here first. Now, if this should happen, if this drop should happen and we come all the way, to this level, we will see price pumping all the way to $150,000 per coin. Right now, if $65,000 to $55,000 region fails to hold BTC, it is going to be very bloody because BTC is going to drop to $30,000 per coin, which is here, and I don't want that to happen. Right? I don't want that to happen, but if it happens, I don't give a fuck because why? I'm here to speculate and make money. I'm not here to, put my money on the line and expecting, a miracle to happen for an asset or something to rise, right? Now, this is why I was able to call, this was not rocket science. This was just pure technical analysis, and that was how I was able to call BTC crash from 120k to 65k, and it's on my Twitter there. I posted that around August 28th. It was there on my Twitter. Go back to my last post. You will find that post there, and I said be wise, take profit, and a lot of traders did not take profit, and maybe because of I did not have the lot of um um publicity, right? A lot of people did not see it. I'm pretty sure that if a lot of people knew that I had successfully predicted Bitcoin from around this zone to 100k and I'm still predicting it to drop, a lot of people were going to, get out of the market as at that time. And it is so unfortunate that a lot of people lost money, from this crash. And RIP to those that have, out of depression had to kill themselves, because of this. So guys, this is a clear breakdown on what is going on BTC. In case you are confused, you can see that I had marked this thing out. In fact, to be very honest, I marked this thing out as at the time I posted that video. After I did this analysis, I saw it. It was clear. In fact, I told one of my friends like BTC was going to crash and it's going to be a shock to the people. Right? When I said this, he was like, it's true, and I explained it to him and I showed him exactly what I'm showing you guys right here for free. If you are enjoying contents like this and you want to know more about the financial market, do well to like, subscribe to this channel so that you wouldn't miss out on important and exciting informations like this if you know that you are into the financial market. So guys, I think this video has a lot of information in it. Do well to subscribe, like I said earlier on, to the channel so that you will not miss out on educative and informative contents like this. It is BFX. Peace out to you guys. I love you. Bye.